Welcome back to the Smart Driving Cars podcast. We are glad you are with us. I'm Fred Fishkin, along with the Faculty Chair of Autonomous Vehicle Engineering at Princeton University, Alain Kornhauser. Hi, Alain.
Hey, good morning, Fred.
Got that sweater on, staying warm in this.
Well, yeah, I know. Unfortunately, it's Harvard colors, but it's the only thing I could put on today. Never mind.
Well, on top in the latest Smart Driving Car newsletter. Let's get right to it. The Tesla and
Right.
Waymo executives joined safety experts in testifying on the future of self-driving cars in Congress. Some words of praise, Alan, for Texas Senator Ted Cruz, a Princeton alum, and Bryant Walker Smith. So this was pretty impressive, I guess, overall.
Well, absolutely. I guess it started yesterday at 10 o'clock in the morning or so down in Washington. Of course, I had to be in class, so I couldn't. We were in class, but after class, luckily, PBS had, or I guess others had taped it, and it was available for download. So I sat yesterday afternoon after class, just absolutely enjoying the whole thing.
And what were
Absolutely
some of the
enjoying it.
takeaways from it for you?
Just boy, at least in the committee in the Senate, I think they're interested in actually doing something for at least safety. And we'll comment a little bit about what was missing, but and of course, you gotta, hey, if we're going to be proper journalists, you have to get both sides, right? But anyway, it was just really good that the opening statement by Ted Cruz was, I think, just spot on. It's tough at times. It's tough for some of us to find anything good coming out of Washington or something like that. And I don't want to be, I'm not being cynical or whatever, but it was just really good. And then the testimonies were just, really good. And as opposed to what tends to be, reported in the media and so on and whatever, it just was spot on. And I think one should spend the time to watch it. And then what was really most encouraging was, in the question and answer period that went on, it was just really serious discussion and very little grandstanding by one side or the other. It was just really good. In my humble opinion. Okay, whatever the hell that means.
Well,
But
really refreshing because there's so much out there on social media and other articles that are just clickbait that
yeah,
don't
and
really tell the
it's
story.
right. And I've become exceedingly frustrated, the two of us, such that we don't even want to do these things anymore to report on them, such that, it seems like almost everything, we've ended up reporting on in the recent past has been about clickbait here, clickbait there, and just tired of it all. I mean, this is a serious opportunity with as with everything in life, there's positives and negatives, and all we want to do is at least find something that is at least a little bit better than all the negatives, as opposed to if it's the other way around, of course not. But it doesn't have to be. Nothing has zero negatives. Nothing doesn't cost something. Nothing, at least, well, I don't know of anything. And if the objective is going to be, zero perfect safety, we've said a long time on this podcast, look, we're playing golf or we're doing something else. We're not going to pursue this. It's just unachievable. But I think the practical discussions and of the opportunities and challenges that took place in the exchange that I just thought was marvelous politics, marvelous policy making. And Ariel Wolf was in the background a little bit on a couple of them. He looked really good too.
But this just focused on safety, and it'd be nice to have another hearing talking about the value proposition that we're always talking about.
Yeah, right. And this was focused on safety. So my only, slight takeaway is that it doesn't, it said actually nothing about the value proposition that we tend to, let's say, promote here. We have to call it promotion, or that it's our bent of the real value, at least in our perspective, of the societal value, especially to those who who don't have very good mobility options. It's one thing to do something that has 15 different ways to get to Newark Airport. Now this is going to be a 16th. Big deal. But as I was giving rides a couple days ago down in Trenton, I mean, the realization that in Trenton, unfortunately, too few people plowed, shoveled their sidewalks. So therefore, even, how many days after the heavy snow that we had, it's essentially impossible to walk to school. You have to do it in the street. For which, I know in places like Minneapolis and places where they get a lot of snow, they have all the capabilities to not only push it out of the way while it's dropping, but also pick it up and get rid of it someplace, because otherwise it fills up parking places. It gets thrown on top of sidewalks. And I guess, in Trenton, even in Princeton here, we don't have much capability to do that. And so guess what? Now the maybe 2 lanes that you've created on the way, now not only have to serve for both ways for the cars to go, but also for the people who don't happen to have a car to be able to get to where they're going because they're walking. And they're walking out in the street. Well, where else can they walk? So, I mean, and it was just so nice giving some rides to some people there, who really needed a ride. So at least,
That's part of the update on handy rides, I guess.
well, it's part of it, but it's just so fun. And the ability to give rides to people who really need a ride is sort of, what we tend to repeat over and over here, the latent demand that exists out there. And it's non-small. It's not trivial. It's greater than the demand is greater than that served today by all mass transit. They serve 2% of the trips. There must be at least 10% of the trips out there that aren't made simply because one doesn't have a good option, because their only option is to walk, is to ride a bike. Good luck, yes, and now, or to have somebody that's nice enough to them to give them a ride, and and the opportunity that this form of mobility has to really give people rides at not just a price that's low, because you can make the price low if you subsidize the hell out. Sure, great. You have a sugar daddy out there that pays for it. Wonderful. Unfortunately, um, they're not sugar daddies, or whatever you want to call it, or public sector, or heavily subsidized mass transit entities, if you want a more academic name. And all of a sudden, the real, at least we see as the real value of this mobility is that now you have a machine that can do it. And that scale, that machine, the cost of that machine goes to zero or close to zero. And my goodness, just, I don't know, it seems intuitively obvious to the most casual observer. Let's do it. Yes, there are some drawbacks. And I think as I try to write here also, this is a new value proposition provided to our neighbors, to our residents, to the people of this country. It's a new opportunity for those that haven't had this opportunity. So it's not taking anything away. It's not taking any jobs away. It's new on top. And somebody said, well, is it going to be more congestion? Not necessarily. If we do it well, it doesn't have to be that. We do it poorly, of course. But there are opportunities to do this well. And it's really nice to have heard the discussions, serious discussions that went on during that hearing, addressed with how to do it well. We've got to be able to deal with cybersecurity, as Senator Kim of New Jersey wanted to. Absolutely. We don't want somebody going out, whatever, and doing bad things. But we also, I think, have to expect that those for whom we give rides are in fact going to behave. And, you know, I can't fly on a United Airlines flight if I'm going to spend my time in my seat figuring out how I crashed the plane. Oh, can it do this? Can it do that? Oh, maybe it'll stop right here. And so, some of the things that one has to be able to put up with in doing this is the adversarial, not adversarial from somebody coming out, adversarial from the person coming in. I mean, some of the videos you see out there, I have a white hat. I tried to crash it. What? Okay, that's good in a test environment in which we're trying to figure out how to fix this thing. But in an operating environment, every time I get on a United Airlines flight, they tell me, you don't pay attention to the rules, we're escorting you out. And so, of course, that is going to have to be put on here because, of course, it's trivial to jump over and if there happens to be a steering wheel in there to take over the steering wheel. Or there's not a steering wheel in the darn thing because it is a real autonomous taxi, robotaxi, whatever you want to call it. That somebody, there's really a joystick under the thing because really, even elevators, have a little box you can open them up so that the emergency personnel can open up and fix a stuck elevator in case it's stuck between floors. If I'm stuck between floors, don't ask me to open up I'm not going to know what to do. But I shouldn't be in an elevator trying to stick it between floors. I'm just trying to get up or get down. And so, that's, again, I can go on this thing, but I just encourage people to, watch this one, listen to this. Hopefully, these folks are going to put together legislation that will basically, put appropriate hurdles on those that are making these automated drivers so that they actually do work. They don't need to work, as we've discussed here, everywhere at all times. How about just a lot of places, a lot of times? Not 365.25 days a year. How about 330? Oh, perfection on this thing, is just, again, but we've got to get started. Right now, we have nothing. We have some opportunities, and it was just, I don't know, I couldn't be happier with the performance of all the elected officials and all the people that testified there. The openness of the discussion, at the addressing of really, serious as opposed to cute problems and challenges. Probably wouldn't get that many clicks, okay? Because this was not clickbait, and the behavior on both sides was not clickbait. It wasn't grandstanding. It wasn't whatever. It was. Look, we have a serious opportunity that has some serious challenges to make it really good, and let's roll up our sleeves and let's work on it. That's what I got out of it.
and maybe get a hearing on the societal benefits as well.
Yeah, well, they'll just come. Look, if they don't do it, we're going to do it. I mean, period. Okay, we'll
Meanwhile,
do it.
Alan, Bryant Walker Smith, who was there testifying,
Brian was terrific,
you know,
yeah, terrific. And in his testimony, the steps that he put are, boy, terrific.
well, he and Sven Beiker wrote a piece on Business Insider, and it's on AOL as well. You can find it there. They wrote this piece after riding in driverless robotaxis in China. You had some comments about that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't. I mean, I haven't gotten on a plane, gone over there and taken the time to do it. I dog ate my homework on that one. Okay, probably should and whatever, but my goodness, to have them go there and actually basically tell us what's going on, really, you know, who does have and when do they have, an attendant in the vehicle. Okay. And why do they have an attendant in the vehicle? I mean, if the person who's riding in there requires an attendant during the ride, then there has to be an attendant in the vehicle, period. But if the but at least then you don't need two attendants, one driving, one attending to the person. Okay, trying to get it to a point where either the only or the second person you don't have to. That's the thing that leads to the affordability. Okay, and so it's a new sector. It doesn't exist out there yet. So a lot of people are still getting back to our original argument, still stuck at home, not benefiting from going to get their hair done. I don't know. Of course, go to a doctor, go to work, get to work on time, all that traditional, really good things. But what about just the normal quality of life things that we all get because we happen to have outside our kitchen door a fleet of cars, boom, go in any time, don't care about who, some folks, unfortunately, and as we said, they're non-trivial number that don't happen to have all the things that I have that make my life so damn good. Darn it, this is an easy way to at least let them get to places where they'd like to go when they want to go. But that gets back to the original argument. But what was nice back on topic here is that they reported, what's real and what's still imagined or, done with smoke and mirrors in China. Hey, I don't think it's clickbait.
Well done. Well, they've done Sven and Bryant have done great.
They're respectable people in this field. I mean, they're struggling with trying to do good here. Okay.
Alan from SpaceX, Super Heavy testing begins, putting it back on track after the B-18 disaster. You have
Yeah,
something there?
actually, really more if it, that's sort of just some things that I've been talking with my class about as to the implications on their future lives, their next 25 years after Princeton productivity and what they're going to be able to do. And what's been happening lately is, again, one of these aha moments, um, things are changing here on a daily basis. I mean, for SpaceX to come out and now talk about thousands, hundreds of thousands of satellites in orbit. I mean, how do thousands, single digit thousands is an eye opener. Okay. Triple digit thousands is, whoa, what's going on? But on a fundamental basis, putting into orbit these guys that face the sun and just grab energy, free energy, free. Well, you had to build it, put it up there. So, but after you have it up there, operational free, and then putting the processors on this axis so that none of the photons don't bend. It just goes straight, at least up there. I mean, they've been through our ionosphere, but there's no ionosphere up there. So they don't impact this. They go to, that means the stuff here is that's, I don't know, 3 degrees Kelvin. Apparently all this stuff that like Jensen Huang builds and all these folks that actually do the chips. Boy, if you put them in, if you put them real cold, they really work real well. Otherwise, you got to
That's what
cool
they're,
them.
well, I think you're alluding to Musk wanting to put the AI data centers in space.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yes.
and of course that was another
Yeah.
headline that that SpaceX now owns XAI. The
Well, whatever. Who doesn't matter? That's a footnote. Okay. I mean, and and if you want to put them up there, you got to do it as cheaply as possible. So sure, reuse. Otherwise, it's bad enough. I mean, and you can launch maybe because it's big, 20 of these suckers are, an order of magnitude of these guys. So you don't need 3 zeros of thousands, 3 digits of thousands of launches, maybe only 2 digits of that. I mean, that's still a heck of a lot of launches. When I used to watch Vanguard on TV, go, boom, I heard, poor Vanguard, whatever. I mean, it's just amazing where we've come in my lifetime, and to even conceive of it. And then, in fact, with light beam, whatever communications between these, it has. Who knows? I mean, those folks have figured out bandwidth on those things. Like, whoa. Again, another one of these things that to me seems intuitively obvious to the most casual observer. Whoa. Really? If you do that, then what does that do? That just makes computation, scales computation to a level that I don't know. Nobody dreamed. I don't know. I don't know if anybody dreamed of. First day of class, I actually brought into class my little bag. I took out my little bag. I don't have it here if we were doing this. I took out my slide rule. I told them when I was out there at a state school, not a la-di-da school, we, we used our slide rules to do computations. And then I brought out my little chemical rubber table and I said, we needed a cosine. We looked it up, got 3 digits and put it into our slide rule or something.
maybe there was a pocket protector back then.
Oh no, yeah, of course I didn't I word no no, I mean then I said I don't have I wish I did like my 2 boxes of cards that I took to the ready room to get one turnaround a day overnight on my algorithm that I was designing. Look at what you have now, and look at what you're going to have. What are you going to achieve? Unbelievable. This is an enormous opportunity. It's not to make you do. We haven't even begun achieving stuff. And if you look at how far you went in my career that's lasted, what, 5 years, whatever, maybe there's another, we're not counting zeros.
Only 1 0 added.
Luckily, I mean, do you think, can you imagine how decrepit I would be if one had me? Oh my goodness, whatever. Anyway, so, So the children in the room are inspired. And this is just going to give them that. And on this past Monday, we had Chunka Mui, my favorite futurist, as I call him, in the class. And we just had the wildest of time because this is Moore's law, just continuing on. Okay. And maybe we don't do it by finer whatever of it on the engraving on the chip. We just put a lot of those guys out there that basically have energy that is just bypassing the earth anyway, doing it for us. Whoa, what? At scales that availability to everybody. What do you do with that? I guess they'll get to see I'm going to be long gone, whatever. But it's just kind of it's a lot of fun. It's a nice time to be here, a nice place to be, and we have things to do. Doesn't mean we're just going to be able to go to the basement of our parents' home and play video games. No. Just like we're still at the beginning of this industrialized revolution. You look at what that did to leverage human brain and labor and create what it did, and what the first part of Moore's law has done in terms of leveraging again human labor and brain power. We have twice as many people in the US, or give or take, as we had at the start. And our unemployment rate is less. So this didn't eliminate jobs, eliminate opportunities, gave me opportunity out of nothing, from nowhere, immigrant. Period. Cut it out. I don't know. Just the way I choose to look at it. I'm sure there are other ways to look at the problem or challenge or opportunity.
That is a great way, Alan, to wrap up the episode on that inspirational note. And we want to remind people too that you can find us these days on the Transportation Channel. They've got apps out there now, and they're on all the streaming devices, and a lot of potential there for people to be watching, not only us but all of their great content. So we encourage.
Let me add on to that, as I've been speculating when Dick Mudge first told me about the creation of the Transportation Channel and my process, over the past 2 or 3 years trying to get my nose under that tent, for which I happily have gotten my nose under that tent. Um, um, it was not long after and what I had hypothesized was that it was not long after the creation of the Weather Channel that I sort of put out to one of my classes. I think it was a sophomore class at the time, for a final project. Hey, kids, who wants a great idea for a final project in this class? You can do it, and you can have your own. But look, there's this. I just tripped over this Weather Channel, kind of trying to tell us all about the weather. What we need is a transportation channel, and that does that. And you can have the crash of the day to highlight it. I probably said something screwbally like that in the class, and I always thought that it was Jonathan Sills who put his hand up in the back. Yeah, Professor Kornhauser, I'll do that. Guess what? It was. Because I finally asked him about that, and he said, "Yeah," and he said that apparently his parents had put in a box all of his homework assignments from grade school on up, or something like that, to so that he could have, we do that as parents for our kids. I think. And then what they do, proceed to throw it in the trash as soon as we give it to them because they've moved on from all those things. He claims he has it.
Wow.
I hope it's not all marked up with, it must be all marked up with my grades. I didn't completely hose him. Anyway, and so he says he's got the box someplace and he's going to look for it. Wow. If we do that, we're gonna do a little episode for the transportation channel, at least, not whatever. But it's sort of been obvious to me for a long time that if the world can benefit from a weather channel, seems to me it could benefit from a transportation channel. It's nice that some people are actually putting this thing together to sort of assemble all the content in this sector of the economy that is, really so valuable to our quality of life. I mean, there should be a health channel too, and there should be a housing channel. I mean, there are housing channels. All sort of most of the TV we watch are all these home improvement folks. I mean, they've done a great job of, holy. I want to move to some of those communities, and it's so inexpensive to improve your house and get it fixed up. Man, here in Princeton, holy whatever, I can't afford it.
Well, you got all the content, everything from tiny houses to mansions.
Yeah, I mean, it's really great. We enjoy watching it. So hopefully the transportation channel is going to also put together content that for those of us that are sort of transportation geeks can sit there and, when we're home and enjoy watching as opposed to, the other, as opposed to just cat videos. I enjoy cat videos too. So just to let everybody know that I'm not against, clickbait cat videos.
Does Peggy like them? That's
well, Peggy watches some of them.
Peggy is a
That's my dog. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for.
Well, again, you can search for the transportation channel and install the apps as well. You can always find us with the latest newsletter at smartdrivingcar.com. My tech reports are at techstination.com. Thank you for taking the time with us today, and stay safe.
And again, have a great day. And look, it looks like Washington may actually, do something really good here. Wow.